Hey there guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you the way I'm currently working to farm the Clear with 18 unique unit mission on LGD Morgana in the Chamber of the Vengeful. I've already shown how to do a 5-unit clear all missions, and this strategy and this team is basically extremely similar. I've just refined it a little bit. But also, I am using that last party slot, now that the mission is done, to rotate 1 unit per clear. And, I just take an extra unit that can help make the clear a little bit easier. It's relatively quick. I've optimized it to speed it up a bit. So we're going to be going and trying to get some of these. I've currently got, 11 units done. I'm working on getting all 18. But we're going to be taking our own friend unit as the bonus slot each time. So currently, with the bonus unit I've taken like Chizuru, Wilk, Carton, Frievia, Esther, etc. And all these units are just an extra bonus unit to help me get a clear in. This time we're going to be taking Louise for this next one. Just as a bonus unit, and we can stick her on. She's not going to actually be DPSing, so we don't even need an Esper on her. But she's going to be basically just support chaining and all that kind of stuff. But here is the core 5-man team that is coming to every single clear. Now, you might be asking, how can you swap units around if you don't have anyone in the core 5? That's a good question, and that is not the topic of this video. This video is for those of you that do have the core 5 and can replicate this. And the 6th unit, you can rotate someone per clear. And it's going to be a little bit slow, but you would get 6 units on your first clear, and you would have to do this 12 additional times, rotating 1 unit per clear. So it's a little slow. It's a little energy intensive, but you'll get over time rotating 1 unit per clear. And the fight's really hard, so that's the reason I'm doing this. And I'll show the gear in all the end. You can use timestamps to skip to the end if you want to, just to see the gear and all that. But let's get in here, and this is usually like a 5-turn clear, 6-turn clear. So it's pretty quick, and it's mostly reliable. There's a little bit of RNG involved, but it's for the most part reliable. Okay, so we're going to start Chow on the shift and then go to the base for auto casting. We're going to Loyal, Guardian, and just whatever again to fill morale gauge. Don't provoke with Chow. Sylvie is our provoker. She is going to Elemental Vines, Elemental Petals for the resistances, and we're going to Paladin's Defense for the Mirage. Roberta, in the base form, is going to Ignitos to cure the preemptive imperil. It's very important. We're going to Inferno Breath to unlock, or to Fire Imbue, and then Mega Breath to unlock Quad Cast for next turn. Louise is just going to put up a field for the party. We can Firepower to Imperil. Doesn't really matter what else. I guess we can Diverse, and we can Power Boost. Sure, whatever. Alright, so Kaito is going to start in the base and go to the shift. And then every turn, I already explained this in my previous video, we're going to Deep Submersion to break, and then Torrential and Downpour for this first turn. And then Elena on this first turn is going to Celestial Brilliance, Stella Marie, and Gemini Blade. So turn 1 is basically all just set up. Okay, and now we're going to start dealing some damage. Now we're using the morale fill cards and all, so this is going to be a little bit, an expensive clear, but yeah, it works, but it does require some specific stuff. Okay, so turn 1, the boss does Might of the Virtuous. Because we used Ignitos on Roberta, we basically negated that, so that's fine. And then Sylvie counterattacks and all. Okay, so Chow is now going to re-raise himself. So we're going to Guard Dog, re-raise himself, and then just True Guardian's Blessing. Roberta is going to quad cast. We're going to re-imperil with Inferno. Actually, I wouldn't even need to do that, because we can use Louise to imperil. So Louise will Let's go ahead and incapacitate target for the... That is an imperil, right? Yeah, it's an imperil. And then we can tactical, ionic, firepower. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, Louise is not really here for damage. So now Roberta can just go pure damage here. So we can do Mystic Breath 4 times. Kaito can Deep Submersion and then double Blade Storm. And then Elena can triple Gemini Blade. Sylvie is going to, on this turn, Paladin's Offense, Compassionate Knight, and we're going to do Burgeoning Defense to fill the morale gauge. And okay, so we'll go ahead and chain this up. Always click Kaito first so that we can break the boss. And yeah, as you can see, the damage is respectable. We should be getting like a 5 or 6 turn clear. Once we get below 50, though, it gets a little bit harder because then the boss starts doing Ghastly Nightmare. And if you saw my first video, you know that's a tremendous pain in the butt. But, you know, we're going to deal with it. We've got Re-Raise on Chao. That's going to mostly handle it, not to mention Sylvie is going to be counterattacking somewhat. That's kind of why this clear is really, like, hyper-specific. Alright. Some counters again. No big deal. Alright, so this turn, we are not going to re-imperil with Louise. So we are going to use Roberta to imperil as the first action, and then the triple Mystic. Elena can just triple Gemini again. Kaito. This time, Kaito is going to Deep, Torrential, and then reapply Downpour. Louise will just Scarlet Wave to support chain. If you don't have Scarlet Wave, you could shift Louise and triple Bolting Strike. But anyway, so whenever we don't imperil preemptively, we need to re-imperil with Roberta first. So we're going to re-imperil with Roberta and then chain these other guys and get some damage in here. So there we go. Alright, so we didn't quite go below 50 yet, so the boss is not going to do his crazy attack yet, which is good. So we'll just Elemental these two, and we'll go ahead and Paladin's Resolve. And the reason for casting these elemental skills so much is because they fill morale gauge. And the more morale we have, the more damage we deal, obviously. Okay. Obliviating Curse, blah, blah, blah. Don't really care. So when we go below 50, the boss is going to start doing the Nightmare attack, Ghastly Nightmare. And that's going to kill our tank. So there was the AoE physical damage, as you just saw. The boss did Vicious Massacre. Alright, so we're going to... We want to get... what's it called? We want to get Mirage again. So we're going to imbue Mega Breath and support from... Actually, we're going to do it this way. We're going to do imbue, support for Mirage, and Mega Breath. Kaito will just continue to support chain, Deep and double Blade Storm. Elena, triple Gemini. We can do the field again. We can do firepower. We can do diverse, and we can do, I guess, power boost, whatever. We'll go ahead and do that first. Let's see. Yep. So we will do this, and then support chain these guys. And really the one carrying the damage is pretty much just Starlight Elena. Alright, so we're going to definitely lose Chao here. Don't guard, though. So we'll just, again, fill morale. And we'll go ahead and do... Yeah, let's do that again. Sylvie will... Let's see here. Elemental Protection. And we don't have anything else to really do, so we'll just Compassionate Knight again. Okay. So Ghastly Nightmare is going to kill our tank, and he's going to re-raise. And there goes the tank, but he comes back. And the tank shouldn't die a second time as long as you've geared properly. And there we go. See, pretty mostly reliable. Now, the boss can do Ghastly Nightmare any turn she wants from now on, so we're going to keep re-raise on Chao. We'll go ahead and cover again, and we'll do True Guardian's Blessing. Sylvie will put up all the resistance buffs for Chao. It's very important. And we'll just resolve. Roberta is going to support chain. Let's go ahead and Mystic Breath 4 times. Kaito can support chain. And we might kill the boss here. If so, great. If not, whatever. It's double Gemini. And we'll go ahead and use Star Supernova. And we'll use Louise this turn to Imperil. Power Boost, Diverse, and Tactical, sure. Okay, I think, yeah, we didn't actually... Let's go ahead and do it this way. Let's go ahead and 4 times Mystic Breath. And deal some damage here. So the boss may die here on turn 5. If so, great. If not, we'll kill her next turn. There it is, turn 5 clear. So that one was a little bit slower than my usual clears with... anyway, I'll show you the gear on Louise. Actually, I won't. Louise was just using Dark Resist. That's all that really mattered. Dark Resist and some morale fill cards. Anyway, so that was a 5-turn clear. It's usually about 5 turns. You don't see the damage here. But as you can see, Starlight Elena carries. Kaito and Roberta deal decent damage as well. And there is my rod. So we're going to do one more clear. Basically the same concept. So we're going to go again. We're going to select your own unit. This time we're going to take Yoshi Clear. Because Yoshi Clear is pretty much, again, a decent support unit here. I've already preemptively geared him. We can like stick an Esper on the unit if you want. But again, let's go ahead and do the clear. And the same thing. Like it's going to be like a 5 or a 6 turn clear. And it's relatively quick. You know, I'm spending a lot of time talking and explaining, which is making it slower. But again, I'm gonna try to go a little bit quicker this time, and I'm gonna try to walk you through everything I'm doing. So start in the shift with Chao, go to the base form, Guardian and double Most Loyal on turn 1, Sylvie on turn 1, Mirage with defense, Vines and Petals. Roberta is going to Ignitos to cure the Imperils, Mega Breath to open up Quadcast, and Inferno Breath. Yoshi Clear is literally just support here, so we can do Frozen LCD, we can Morale Fill, and we'll do Hikikomori for triple cast. Kaito start in the base for the auto casting, and then we go to the shift. We're going to Deep, Torrential Force and Torrential Downpour in turn 1. Turn 1, Elena, Celestial, Stella, and Gemini. So again, turn 1 is all set up. And then we start dealing damage. So Might of the Virtuous will not deal any damage to Chao because we cure the Imperils with Roberta. If you're not curing the Imperils, that Might of the Virtuous does a ton of damage, which can be obviously very, very dangerous. And real quick, so I don't forget, I'll show you Yoshi Clear's gear. Dual wielding, morale card, and just some Dark Resist. Everyone has Dark Resist on the party. It's very important. Okay. So on turn 2, Chao is going to put up cover. He's going to re-raise himself, and then he'll just do one of the morale fill skills. Sylvie on turn 2, offense, burgeoning, and compassionate. Roberta is going to, because no one else is re-imperiling, Roberta will always start with Inferno Breath and then a few Mystics. We'll use Yoshi Clear to do a big buff on Elena. So we will, whoops. We will do Morale Fill. Let's BA start on Elena for the big stat buff. And nothing else really matters. I guess we can Unubi lose. Anyway, so now we're going to deal damage. So we're going to Deep and then double Blade Storm, and Elena will triple Gemini. Okay, so we're going to start off with Roberta. We click Roberta, then we chain these two with Kaito being before Elena, and that'll deal some decent damage because the boss cures the debuffs every single turn. So therefore, because that damage was a little bit unfortunate, so this is definitely going to be a slower clear because Yoshi Clear isn't really providing all that much. We don't have a field and all that. Yeah, so it's definitely quicker when your bonus unit is like a damage dealer. Like the one with Wilk and the one with like Carton, like those were really quick clears because they were actually full-fledged DPS units, which was real nice. But yeah, Yoshi Clear isn't really doing a whole lot other than a human killer buff. But I mean, that's fine. Human killer does help. All right, so on turn 3, we're going to have Roberta again, imbue and Mystic a bunch. Kaito. Now Kaito on this turn is going to deep. We're going to torrential, and we're going to downpour as the third cast. In order to do that, we need to triple bolting to match up Elena. So we'll just triple bolting with Yoshi Clear. All right, so Sylvie will again just elemental vines, and we'll go ahead and resolve. Chow will just morale fill. We did re-raise last turn, so we're fine there. And okay, so again, Roberta goes first, then we chain the rest. And the reason we're doing torrential downpour this turn is the third cast on Kaito. It's only a 3-turn buff, so that way the torrential downpour is still up until turn 5. And hopefully we win by then. I can already tell this clear is definitely going to be a slower clear. We're not going to get a turn 5 win with this one because Yoshi Clear isn't really doing anything other than human killer. But I mean, that's fine. Human killer is important too. Okay. So let's go ahead and deal some damage. Now this time we're going to go below 50, which means our tank is going to die. That's totally okay. So let's go ahead and Mega, or Inferno, Mega, and double Mystic. Let's see, triple Gemini. Kaito will deep and double Blade Storm. Yoshi can Wombo combo. Let's morale fill. Let's human killer. And let's smoke curtain, I guess, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Sylvie will elemental petals, and I guess we can compassionate. Chow can, he's gonna die this turn, so let's just do some morale fill. And okay, so Roberta imbues, and we chain this up. And this should be, yep. And of course, as the morale fills up, we're doing more and more damage. We'll do a decent amount of damage this coming up turn. But here's the Ghastly Nightmare. There goes the tank, re-raise, auto cover, and then he keeps going. And then, you know, most of the time, Chow should easily survive this turn because he's wearing a lot of resist gear. And again, I'll show you the gear of the party after this clear. But there we go. Pretty basic. Just keep in mind the boss can recast Ghastly Nightmare on other turns after this. So again, we're going to cover, and we got to re-raise Chow. Don't do that. We're going to re-raise Chow, and then we'll just True Guardian's Blessing for the general mitigation. Sylvie, always put those resist buffs back up on Chow, and then Compassionate Knight gives Chow immunity. Roberta on this turn will Inferno and triple Mystic. Yoshi Clear on this turn will do, what's it called? Let's see. Oh, his triple cast is gone. Oh well. So let's see. Our cooldowns are not available. We'll just morale fill, and I guess we'll just you noob you lose, whatever. Kaito will deep submersion and double blade storm. We'll try to kill the boss here. We'll double Gemini and we'll star supernova for a nice big chunk of damage. We'll go ahead and imbue and then chain it up. And again, we may kill the boss here with star supernova from Elena, but probably not. Yeah, we're a little bit short. That's fine. We'll go to turn 6. No big deal. The morale is almost maxed out at this point. We're probably going to lose Chow again from another threshold, so Ghastly Nightmare. There goes the mana. The mana is not a problem. We can get the mana back from the morale gauge. Yeah, the 20% threshold is going to like drain all your mana. Not a big deal. Alright, so when your mana gets drained, we will wait for the auto casting to finish. I don't want to like freeze the game. So we'll just go ahead and use Resurging Will, and there we go. Plenty of mana to chain again. So let's go ahead and deep and double Torrential. Elena will triple Gemini. Roberta will quad. We will Inferno and triple Mystic. And that's all we really need. You know, you could use the attack and magic. Whoops. You could use the attack and magic buff if you want. Doesn't really matter. So we'll chain that up, and there it is. There is our are clear. Now, as you can see, the boss was definitely bulkier that turn. If you don't kill him the first 5 turns, turn 6 and beyond, the boss does have a defense buff, which can't be removed. So you definitely want to try to do a speed clear if possible, because again, a slower clear means you will be struggling against that defense buff and spirit buff, and the longer the fight goes, the bulkier she gets and the harder it gets. But as long as you can speed clear it within like 5 or 6 turns, you're good, and you can just cycle 1 unit per clear for that 18 turn mission. So I'll go ahead and show you the gear of the core team that we used. Once it loads. Alright, so the core team is Chow starting in the shift form, with the shift form using the Celestite Rod. If you have it, it equips and it auto-casts Morale Fill on the beginning of the turn, which is convenient. So does the Treasure Memorial Ring, so wear those. Those are helpful. Other than that, some auto-buffing, so like Saintly Castle, Wisdom of Hess, etc. Not like super relevant. Base form is, you want some resistance to Ice, Wind, Light, and Dark. I gave him Blizzard Orb just as like a backup plan. It also gives death immunity. Full evasion. I think he's full evasion. 80% evasion, so not quite full, but good enough. And then a morale fill card, because morale is a big deal. And there was Chow. He covers and does mitigations. Never ever provoke with Chow. Do not provoke, because we want the provoke going to Sylvie, who is our passive provoker. I gave her counter orbs and, you know, the counter up gear. Don't go too high in resistances for her. Shift form identical. I'm dual wielding on her because, as we have found out, dual wielding will make this auto cast for morale apply twice. It's kind of crazy, kind of awesome, but yeah, dual wield your units using a morale card because it'll double your morale gain. Kind of insane. Not sure if that's intended or not, but that's the way it works, at least currently. And anyway, Sylvie, basically, honestly, all she really does is these resistance buffs. And these resistance buffs are a really big deal. They also fill morale gauge per turn. And then this fills morale gauge per turn. As you can see, a lot of morale fill. That's 1,200 morale after using that. But yeah, that and her defense and offense buffs are all she really does. We actually never shift her. And then Roberta in the base form is using a double-handed magic katana build. So true purple lightning. The whole party has 100 or better dark resist, by the way. Dark resist, you want 100 or better. That way you don't die. Other than that, just damage versus humans and fairies. We're at 175 human, 150 fairies. So low on killers for you, because we're having to go with a double-handed katana build because of the katana in peril from Kaito. Speaking of Kaito, base form is using the Obsidian Bracer. Shift form is using damage, just chain damage. So chain damage versus humans and fairies. There we go. He's maxed on literally everything using a morale card, maxed human, maxed fairy, and he chains and breaks and katana imperils every turn. Starlight Elena, star of the show, dual wielding katanas because again the imperil. So dual wield katanas, 100 dark resist, and just chain damage versus human fairies. There's her build. Make sure you use the intrinsic ability. It's obviously important. And then, you know, a card. And she is at maxed human and 225 fairy. She does a ton of chain damage per turn. And that is the speed clear. You know, 5 or 6 turns, rotate 1 unit per clear. Try to bring in someone that can contribute some kind of way. As you saw, Louise brought a fire field. I'm going to bring Terra to a clear, and she'll do the fire field with Ifrit. I'll probably bring, you know, you can bring some chainers in. I already brought in Wilk and Carton and all that, and those clears were really quick because they were like literally extra DPS, and it was very helpful. You could also bring things like, you know, Ling, and you could probably you could replace Roberta with Ling, but that's not a good swap. But you could bring Ling as like just a bonus unit, and she does human killer, and Ling, you know, does human killer. You could bring Axstar and Cleome for human killer. Yeah, this party doesn't have a human killer buff, so someone that can bring human killer is a way to contribute and just bring a bonus unit. So there's the clear. Hope it's been informative. Not cheap, but effective. See you in a bit.